So this Sikha was said by the Rebbe in Toshin and Olive. What then the Kriyas was that Parshas Naso was Yud Beis B'Sivan, but that's the Siyum of the Yemei Tashlumin L'Chag HaShuvois. As the one on it is, as the Gemara brings down, that there's Shiva Yemei Tashlumin, the Chag HaShuvois, and that means that the seventh day is Yud Beis Sivan, and that was the Shabbos that the Rebbe said this Sikha. There was Parshas Naso Yud Beis Sivan, the completion of the days of repayment, literally being able to repay all the korbanos that a man is supposed to bring when he comes up Aliyas Regel. Then he has to bring 2 korbanos with him, minimum, but that's Elos Riyah and Elos Chagiga, and that took a tremendous amount of offering up all the people who came, all the korbanos. And therefore today, which is Yisrael Chag, Shavuos, as brought down by the Alter Rebbe in Shulchan Aruch, this was called Yom Tavoyach. It was the day of slaughtering, and they used to try and catch up with all the people who weren't able to be makriv their korbanos on Shavuos itself, and they used to offer them up massively on Yisrael Chag. Therefore, the Yisrael Chag of Shavuos, they got certain milas in it, Gabi another Yisrael Chag, because of the river korbanos that was called Yom Tavoyach. And therefore, how much more so? How much is supposed not to fast on Yisrael Chag, but that has certain statuses in halacha. On Yisrael Chag Shavuos, it's a chiyuv goma to eat, and it's a isa to fast on Yisrael Chag. Mashenkin on the other times it's only mitzat minag or mitzat ma'ila sayom v'chulu, but it's not mamish a isa or a chiyuv ala odom to eat. However, on Yisrael Chag Shavuos it is. So that was today. And then we have the other 6 days of the Tashlumin, but during those days, people didn't offer up today, used to offer up on those other days of fulfillment, they used to offer up their korban. So Chazal Omrim, the Rebbe begins that our sages tell us, Shebechol Yom V'Yom Divrei Torah Tzrichim Liyesh Be'einei Ha'odom Ka'chadoshim. What Rashi brings it down in his Pirush Alatera Kama Makaimes, where it's written the word Chadoshim, what Rashi brings down, or it's written an implication in the several psukim in the Torah, that the Divrei Torah should be new by the Odom. Oh, that's not working? A Torah should be new by the mensch, and it's a maimah of the Sifri that Rashi brings it down, but Kama Mekaymas, that B'chol Yom Yu Divrei Torah Beinecha Ka'chadoshim. And it's well known that in Parsha Kisovei, the Rashi writes it without a kofa dimyan, and over there he writes that it should be be'einecha chodoshim, without a kofa dimyan. But that indicates that every day you have to have a new bren, a new chayas, kilo that you got them today from the Eibush on Sinai. Like the Torah brings down, of the Skrishma, the Alter Rebbe brings it down, that it's not the same when you hear a new announcement from the king and everybody runs into the city square to hear the new announcement from the king compared to an old announcement that everybody knows already. And that's how the Divrei Torah have to be in our eyes. But with the Tesevas, that Kilo Hayom Nitno, like as if we got them today from Sinai. Me'acha, so the Rebbe called over Torah, who are miti, everything in Torah, which is Torah Tzemeth, if a Parshas that are Tzemeth, Tachlis, moving she'im Metzurim, or Metzavim, alo Odom, le'shiachis lakach, or even there, that if we're commanding the man that he relate to A'inan so central and equal in the life of Yidden, which is Limud Torah, that he has to look at it like that every day it's mamish new. Yeah, Harizeh, Mishum, Be'emes Ukat, the Be'emes, every day, the Divrei Torah, I knew, like they're given mamish me Sinai, Ba'ita Hayom, until we see in Parshas Kisova, the Rashi says that it's mamish chadoshim without a kofadimian. And this is expressed in the brachas that every Yid makes. But Birchas HaTorah, after Birchas HaShachar, then we make the blessings on the Torah, and we complete the two blessings. V'loshen hi noisein HaTorah, Baruch Atah Havaya, Elokeinu Melech Olam, noisein, or Baruch Atah Hashem, noisein HaTorah. But that's Loshen Hoive. What Adover Shel Hoive means that it's happening continuously. The yesod of a Hoive is that it's a present, and also it can contain in itself the idea of continuation. And a hemshah that it's kayoim, kemoish ayoim, nutna michodesh, just like as if the Torah was given mamish, michodesh. Since the Torah is a Torah emes, and kachahu be'emes, and as they has to be the isyachas of the Odom l'divrei Torah. So before we get into the shaykhs, that would Parshas Naso, after the Giluim of Chag HaShavuos, they bring here in this inyan 4 pirushim that the Rebbe brings in Nasicha, albeit the Rebbe doesn't list them in this way, one after the other. He brings them as he goes along, different. But in order to make it sort of more systematic for the reader, they mention here 4 types of what we call in Lashon Kodesh his hitchadshut in modern Hebrew. So in order to understand what is the diuk of the Lashon hitchadshut versus the idea of chidush, for example. Hitchadshut means a newness, and also the word chidush means newness or new entity. And a new outlook on things. So what's the difference between these chadshas and chidud? So that's going to come up as we go along. So it's maybe worthwhile at this point just to give a couple of words of definitional establishment in that inyan. And that is that the word is chadshas is a reflexive word, meaning that something that we already have and it's already available to us on a certain madriga, undergoes a renewal. It undergoes a refreshment, so that you look at it like it's something new. Even though be'emes, it could be that you've had that level before, or that level has been on a slightly higher level, but it's been hidden by Hilam and it's just come out Lidei Gil, which means that it's not a Dover Chodesh Be'etzem Minyonei. No, we're talking about the effect of the inyan, that it comes in a way of a renewal of its power. And that's called a hitchadshut. However, when I say the word chidush, then I mean something which is absolutely a new thing. In other words, we haven't had it before, and it hasn't been even in a state of healing before, but it's a completely new thing. And therefore, that's called a chidush, well, that's a more absolute noun when I get to the idea of newness. And itchadshut is also an absolute noun, but itchadshut implies a renewal of something that's available, at least behelim. It's within reach, let's put it that way, it's just renewed. So, the Rebbe says that L'maisa ניתן לחלק es ha'ishchadshut, or this whole newness that you're supposed to relate your whole learning and your whole self to your learning Torah every day, then we can divide that concept of ishchadshus la'arba chalokim protiyim kedahalon. As we're going to now list, as we go along, 4 different concepts or 4 different possibilities of this whole idea of ishchadshus. So he says, number 1, but even kloli, he said, generally speaking, ishchadshus הפעולה של מתן תורה נעשית כל שנה מחדש בזמן זה חג מתן תורה. The Rebbe says that what happens on Shavuos, which is Zman Matan Torah, saying this is Chag Matan Torah. So he said that the Torah is given to us in a completely renewed way. In other words, lav dafka that we're implying that it's a new Torah, but it's like all the Mekablei HaTorah, it's a new inyan. In other words, that you get the Torah in a new experience and you live it in a different way. But basically, it's the Torah that's given every year. It's just that you are required and you are helped to milamayla to relate to it in a completely different new way than what you have been before. So he said that's what the inyan of Chag Matan Torah, שבכל שונה חוזרים ומסיירים ויישום העניונים שאירו ביום זה בפעם הראשונה. What's going on? The Divrei Arizal. The Arizal says, Hayom Ha'ila, from the pasuk in the Megillah, Hayom Ha'ila nizkorim. V'nasim, that if you remember a thing properly and you live in it properly in your memory, then nasim, it occurs exactly as it did the first time. So the same is with Chag HaShavuos, that what was given originally at Matan Torah, or those inyonim repeat themselves and they awaken themselves, but it's basically the same inyonim, but the person has to live in a new way altogether. He has to be mekablet in a new way. So it comes in the form of a newness, and that's called itchadshut. But that's itchadshut klodius, that the mensch experiences that in a way that wasn't Matan Torah. They received the whole Torah as the one on that in the Aseret HaDibros Afila, the whole Torah is hidden in merumas. So they received at the day of Matan Torah the whole Torah, Kol HaTorah Kulu. That's the first general ishchadshus that we're going to discuss. The next ishchadshus is ishchadshus hanizkeret, that we've already mentioned. We just mentioned that. Anasis b'chol yom. We demanded that the mensch have a new attitude and he live a newness in the Torah every day. So the Rebbe said, "Ulamaisa ishchadshus bo mikoyach shel ishchadshus aklolis ashnosis anasis b'zman Matan Torah." So the Rebbe said that ishchadshus that you feel every day, and you're supposed to live every day a new learning and a whole new experience in Torah, but that occurs mikoyat the ishchadshus klodius that there was at Matan Torah and on Chag HaShavuos. So that's why it is so important, Yontav, Chag HaShavuos, that you receive a klodus tikkun, what you might call a massive ishchadshus, and from that ishchadshus it divides up into all the days of the year in your private ishchadshus, that you feel this newness in every day of Torah, because you got a massive newness on Chag HaShavuos, which means that really they have an interrelation, one to the other. And even though on Matan Torah on Chag Matan Torah, it's a massive Ischachas. It's not something shaloi ba'era to what's every day. It's just that every day takes out and draws its highest proteas from the highest Claudia. And just like we find this in another similar inyan, Ischachas kiyum ha'olam b'chol yom. We say that every day there's a new, renewal of the kiyum of the world, the whole bria, the whole creation, b'chol yom. Like we say in davening twice, Hilchas Krishna, Amachadesh b'tuvei b'chol yom tomid ma'aseh Bereshit. That we see that every day it's a new world. Yeah, it's mamish a new world. So he says that even kloli nazis ischachas b'chol Rosh Hashanah. So the Rebbe said, that ischachas really occurs on Rosh Hashanah. That's the whole story of Rosh Hashanah. That's a new world. It all goes back to Kaviyocho, to before the creation, and we have mamshik the whole creation, michodosh, the tshuva, and the tkiyos and the tefillas, but again, we bring out a whole new creation of the whole creation. So the Rebbe says that's a Claudius, as the one on the famous view of there, that it's like a massive general ischachas, and then each day draws, each month draws a certain Claudius, but relatively Claudius to that Claudius. And then each day of the month draws a certain proteus from the Claudius of Rosh Chodesh. And therefore Rosh Chodesh bears the same sort of name as Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah. So just like Rosh Hashanah is the head and it controls all the Giluim of the whole year, Rosh Chodesh is Koil of that particular month. And then you have the individual days, what they draw their Chayas from the general Chayas of Rosh Chodesh or from Rosh Hashanah. Or from that Ischachas on Rosh Hashanah, then we draw the proteus b'chol yom. So in a similar way in our learning, we draw from Chag Matan Torah, from Shvuah, we draw the general Ischachas, that's a huge, massive Ischachas, and then the newness of the Ischachas and the new Chayim. And the Rebbe is going to say later in the Sikha that the Ika Indian of Chayim is Tainug, Oinig, the whole new Tainug we feel in Limud HaTorah, as if it's a Dover Chodosh, that comes from the Claudius of Shvuah. So the two things are similar. That's a Claudius which gives rise to a Proteus. So it is in Torah, there's a Claudius which gives rise to the Proteus. So that's Ischachas Claudius with Ischachas Proteus. So that's what he called, generally speaking. Then he said the third aspect of Ischachas is what we call Ischachas Miyuchedes Noisefet. There's a further Ischachas which is special. Miyuchedes means special, not something that relates to every day and to every minute and to every month and to every Rosh Hashanah, but it's something that has an individual speciality about it, Miyuchedes. Which has got a certain dimion to the generality of Rosh Hashanah, but it's slightly more individual. He zu anasis b'Shabbos shel achrei Matan Torah. So he says that you got Matan Torah, and then you got the Shabbos that comes after Matan Torah. So we have a klal that's brought down in many places in Chassidus and in the Sikhs of the Rebbe, that the Shabbos after any day in the week, the Shabbos is like the aliyah, the perfection of all the days of the week. So if there was any given day in the week, if it was a special day, then Shabbos causes an aliyah and a perfection in that day and elevates it to its real high state. So if we're going to say that Shavuot is a general, how to call Kabbalah Satera and Ha'ishchadshus, Klolius of Kol HaShona Kula, that the Shabbos after Shavuos elevates the whole of Shavuos. And therefore there must be something very particular in this Ha'ishchadshus, which occurred on Shavuos, which as it were develops in a very special way on Shabbat. It reaches an even higher level than it had on Shavuos. And that's a particular and special elevation that occurs Tavki on the Shabbos after Matan, which is in Parshas Naso. Amit Pateish, Hein Parshas Shavua, Hein Pirkei Avos. He said that that expresses itself both in the Parshas Shavua, which is Naso, and in the Inyan of Pirkei Avos, which we begin all over again, learning the second round of Matzah Hasheni of Pirkei Avos, Lil Meibet Shabbazu, or Kafi Shiavua Lahalan, as will be explained later on. Now, what is the point? That the Inyan of Naso is Nasias Reish. It's put in the puzzle. You have to count people, but it doesn't say count people. It says you have to elevate the head. So the Rebbe said the head of a Yid and the head of the Jewish people is Limudah HaTorah. And you just got a new head on Shavuos, because you took the whole Torah me-chadash. He said, however, on the Shabbos after that, there's Nasias Rosh. We elevate that head. So that head, which has already become full of a whole new Torah, that gets an elevation, Nosoi, elevate, lift up, that head. That's number one. Number two, the Rebbe says, how does Pirkei Avos begin? Pirkei Avos begins, Moshe Kibul Torah Sinai. Pirkei Avos begins with the giving of the Torah at Sinai. So you've already been through the giving of the Torah. You lived a beautiful day on Shavuos. All of a sudden you start reading Shabbos in the afternoon. Moshe Kibul Torah Sinai. Shalom Aleichem, you've already been through all that. So we must say that indicates a new Kabbalah, a new aspect in Kabbalah Satera, which is also a very atzmiistic and particular inyan, which wasn't there on Shavuot, and that's caused by Shabbos, by the Aliyah of Shabbos after Matan Torah. So that's another Ha'ishchadshus. That's a very remarkable and individual Ha'ishchadshus, but it's connected with the Claudia. Now it says the Rebbe, the fourth type of Ha'ishchadshus is really a bomber. So he said, in the three types of Ha'ishchadshus that we had up till now, like we pointed out at the beginning, we're talking about something or inyonim that you anyway have, and we're talking about them being revealed to you in a way that you can gain a whole newness and a whole new relationship to it. But basically, the whole thing is there. So the Rebbe said, Oisei HaTorah shenitna kvar b'matan Torah nitna shuv b'chol yom b'chol shana. Ella, it's there, it's the same Torah that you get every year and every month. Ella shemelvad zois yesh inyan noisa. So the Rebbe, apart from all this, there's a whole new inyan in this, and he said, Lo yishchadshus ella chidosh. In other words, we're now in this fourth idea, we're coming to a concept of a thing which is, as it were, never been there before. It's never been there before. And therefore it's called chidush. And this is why we pointed to you at the beginning of the class that the word chidush means an absolute new thing. So he said that there's a certain aspect of Torah which is called mamish new, chidush. And he said, when's that going to be revealed? That's going to be revealed when Moshiach comes over. And so there's a famous statement from our Rebbeim that Matan Torah lo yeh od apam. There's not going to be another time Matan Torah, which means that this new, absolute new thing, which is going to be revealed at the time of Moshiach, must be hidden somewhere in the Torah. Yeah, it is, but it's hidden so much behilem that you would never be able to get at it with the so-called normal Aveda that there is in the time of the God. Only when Mashiach is going to come, then there'll be revealed this level of Chidush, a whole new Torah, as it were, is going to come out of Helam Godel inside what we already have. And he said, who is going to reveal that Melech HaMashiach? And who is going to give Melech HaMashiach that power to do that? Only the Eibush himself. In other words, all these other newnesses have been dependent on us, how they call putting in and receiving and gaining new enthusiasm, and in the different ways that we have of giving ourselves an nature to find new enthusiasm. But when Mashiach is going to come, then there's going to be a whole new koach given to him by Hashem, and that's going to reveal these new inyonim Torah. And that's what we find that he's now going to mention, that there's a pasuk in Yeshaya Novi, which the Medrash touches it out in a very fascinating way, which indicates this whole new type of Torah. And there's an amazing statement I saw in a Maimon from the Alter Rebbe this afternoon. I looked it up. It's very amazing. And it says that by Matan Torah, there was Moshe Rabbeinu. He was on the Har. He was up on Har Sinai, and he was receiving directly from the Eibusha, and he gave down to the Yidden. So there was the Yidden who were Batakti Yisahar at the bottom of the mountain, and then there was Moshe Rabbeinu on the mountain, and then there was the Eibusha, as it were, giving over or feeding Moshe Rabbeinu. So the Alter Rebbe writes that Yosef, when Moshiach will come, we're all going to be up on the mountain. We're all going to be up in the level that Moshe Rabbeinu was at Matan Torah. We're all going to be on that level. Where's Mashiach going to be? So the Alter Rebbe writes that the Eibush is going to elevate Mashiach up into the air, and he'll be higher than everybody. But he'll be mamish with his head in the clouds, as you might say. He's going to be receiving from the Eibush in a whole new, intimate and direct way that even that we are standing in Moshe Rabbeinu's level, we're not going to be able to get. And that new relationship of the Eibush to Melech HaMashiach is a direct power from him, and that's going to literally force these new Torah revelations to come out. And that's another idea altogether, and that's called Chidush. Chidush, not Itchadshut. He said, Lo yishchadshus shel ela slicha, lo yishchadshus ela chida, not a renewal, but a absolute new thing. Inyonim chadoshim amishchadshim b'Torah, new things which are going to come out in the Torah. Shaloi nitno b'pam rishona. What do you mean they weren't given? There's not going to be any more Matan Torah. Halehem aisham chidushay Torah hamishchadshim b'meshech haTorahs. Kulam lamitos aishal Torah. That's what we find. The aim is in the Sikh of the Rebbe different. He said the way it's going to be liyased lova when the Mashiach comes, and the way it's written in the Gemara in Masechta Megillah, not that Lashon, but in the Yerushalmi, it's written more Meduyak, that whatever a Talmud is going to be Machadish. It was really given to Moshe Sinai, that there's nothing new in the Torah. So wasn't this idea of a Talmud Vasik is going to be Mechadesh. So he's going to have a special Siyata D'Shmaya that he's going to be Megalas, something which is due to the Golas and due to the situation. The Mashiach hasn't come yet, this is Behela. And so he, through his learning with a newness in Torah, with his Yigiyah, how do you call it, his struggling in Torah, he's going to reveal that new aspect. But then when Moshiach comes, in that itself, it's going to be in the higher level. And that's what I mentioned just now. So we have, like, in these whole new ideas, we have two levels. First of all, what is still possible to reveal during the Godas, and what Moshiach is going to reveal only with the Koach HaDe'ah. But these are already not Ishchadshus, they are, how do you call it, Chidush, right? They are a completely new thing. So the Rebbe is going to tell us now that also causes a chidush in the world, just like on Rosh Hashanah. if you take on a whole newness in yourself, you cause a chiddush in the world. The same thing, if you relate to Torah in a new way, absolutely with a new ischachas, or you're a Talmud Vosik and you bring out this new in it altogether, then you cause a newness in the creation. And that's what's written in Yeshaya Novi, that when Mashiach will come, it's written, Es ha'oretz ha'shamayim va'oretz ha'chadashim asher ani oseh. Hashem says it's going to be new heavens and new earth, which I am going to make. I is the Taitz Atmas. He is going to be able to make that, because he's going to make these new chidushim in Torah, and they cause the newness in the world in a complete way. The Talmud Vosik, that he brings out a new chiddush, but still in the Golas, he also causes a newness. And what's that newness? That we become more aware of divinity in the world. We become sort of more, people around him, and that they all begin to see the world differently, and they begin to become aware of Elikus, and even to feel it to a certain extent. But the Yosid Love, it's going to be Begolui. So that's what he says now. You do a She'avu Pisha Mavat Torah, Nitnekva Kol Inyonei Torah, and that's the famous Lashon, which, by the way, nobody quite knows exactly what is the mokir of that Lashon, but it occurs, Beremes in the Alter Rebbe and in the Rebbeim, it occurs quite often that Matan Torah won't be a second time. In other words, the Matan Torah, it contained everything. Matan Torah had everything. It's only a question of Helim, but it had everything. Kol achidushim shasidim lishkadosh b'meshek kol ador, everything. V'yaseirim mizu after Rosh Mashiach, even the Torah that Mashiach is going to reveal, that was all given by Sinai. Shalei in reference to the Torah of Melech HaMashiach, it is written Torah Chadosha mi'iti teitei. Yes, it's written a pasuk in. Now this is a little bit complex. It's not written such a pasuk. There's no such pasuk. Torah Chadosha mi'iti teitei. Ein pasuk there. This is a pasuk in Yeshaya Novi. He's talking about the Geula, and the Redux is over there. He's talking about the effect of Melech Mashiach on the world and everything. But it's written there, V'toira me'iti teitzei. Yeah. It's not written the word Chodesh. Right? It's written, the Torah is going to go out from me. And so comes along a Medrash, the Lashon, Torah Chadosha, me'iti teitei, that's a Lashon of a Medrash. Yeah, it's not the Lashon of the pasuk. And so it says, Torah me'iti teitei, that Lachor has already been. Yes, so the Medrash says, that really means that it's going to be like a new Torah. But since it's written in the form of Torah, me'iti teitei, and the Medrash title Torah Chadosha, me'iti teitei, from that is the first understanding that it's not mamish a new Torah, it's basically the same Torah that is known, but in that, there's hidden inside that there's chidush, which Mashiach is going to reveal. And he's going to bring that out of the Helen, but that's such an amazing Helen that it's like a new thing altogether. So he says, Torah Chadosha mi'iti teitei, Gam hi nitna kvar b'matan Torah, all that was given to Matan Torah, shekol zeh ניתן באופן כללי. All of this was given באופן כללי. That's to say that was the Talmud Vosik, that he brings out in a relative way. It's not necessary to say that Moshe Rabbeinu told the Yidden at Matan Torah that chiddush that he's going to say, because it's just it's impossible in 40 days we'd be able to give over all that type of information. Kloli HaTorah, he learned, and he was given, Moshe Rabbeinu, all the different ways that Bohem Nimtoim Kol Isom HaChidushim. The Kloli HaTorah means the way that we are able to learn and teach the Torah Sheba'al Peh from the Torah Shebiksav. They're called Kloli HaTorah, and Moshe Rabbeinu learned all of them in absolute detail. So it's Kila that was hidden inside the Torah. Holiday, the Kloli HaTorah is supposed to reveal all these Kiddushim. But those are Kiddushim which the Talmud Vosdik is going to be still in the Golas. However, there's a much higher level that's what's going to be revealed when Mashiach will come, and that's only the Koach of the Eibishter. He said, "Over Meshach Hateres Miskalim Adorim Alidei Haloim Dem." Ubezeh Gufa. Oh, now here we get onto it. ובזה גופה יש תירו בין חידושי תורה שמסגלים בזמן הזה לבין אלו שיסגל על ידי משיח. There's a difference אף על פי כן. He said because the oifen of the Helim is different. The Helim during the time of the Golas is a Helim inside the Torah, but it's possible for a Talmud who really learns with tremendous devotion that he can reveal a new thing and it'll come out in the form of a newness. However, he said the Chidushim that are going to be revealed al Yidei Moshiach, that's a different story, and that needs only the power of the Eibishter. So he says, Shachidushim shebezman hazeh mitgalim kamu al Yidei Alomdim. Well, that's a Talmud. Therefore, it's written a Talmud Vosik, a very devoted Talmud. Ach HaTorah Chadosha shetizgal li oseglove, which is going to reveal itself על ידי משיח, היא בדרגה כזו שתתקלה רק ליוסד לובי. It's only going to be able to come ליוסד לובי.
Are these the klalim? Are these the klalim that Moshe Rabbeinu learned?
No, it's not that.
Not that.
Those are, oh, I see what you mean. That's one of the set of the clothing. But there are a lot more. Those are the general clothing. Those are the, you give one, they're connected, you'd give one bit of Zarachim. But then there's a whole series, the printed in the back of the Gemara Maseta Brothers in the big Shasim. There's all sorts of other clothing that the Chachamim had from the great Tanoim, and that they were Makabel from previous Torahs as to how you can darshan even more details anymore. There's a lot of clothing, you understand? There's, for example, I'll just give you one example, what is called the Klonim of Rabbi Yosha Haglili. And that's 32. He's got 32 different Klonim. And then there are other things, Brisas and other inyonim, which are brought that have to do with those Klonim. But that's all in the time of the Golas, but that's new things. However, Liyosik Love, it's going to be such a new Torah that it's going to need only the Eibishter. Kafi shadova mudgas b'diu haloshon Torah chadoshim mi'iti teitzei. Mi'iti is much from me, my soul. Koloima, yeshoina mishar chilchi ha-Torah, she'af shebavadai hi Torah shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ak yetzias hadova yeh mi'ahelam l'gilui nase el yedei Elohim. That's in the Zman HaGolah. הרי שכאן אף ההסגלה של התורה זו תהיה רק בכוחה של הקדוש ברוך הוא. That's the difference. During the Golas, it needs a lot of effort to be megala from the Hillel. But it can be done through the effort of a study, of a loimed. Of the type of chidush which is going to occur, B'zman HaMashiach, that's only mi'iti teitzei. And that's what the Medrash is megale, that's going to be mi'iti davka. V'zuhi ochen hadaga hanailis b'yesa b'Torah. That is the highest possible level in Torah. Shaleya omru, Torah she'odam lo meid. B'zman hazeh hevuhu lifnei Torah shel Mashiach. But that's a voracious rabbi in Koheles Rabbah. That's well known. That everything that we learn, even the Chidushim, not Ishkat, but Chidushim, that the Talmud Vosik will bring out, but that's all hot air, hevel. Legabi the Torah of Mashiach, it's going to be such Chidushim that they will come only from the Eibishter. Even the Chidushim of the Talmud Vosik is hevel, Legabi said. You can get a picture what's going to be the amazing Uftu of the Gilei HaTorah at the time of Mashiach. And that's what we said. The Mashiach is going to be up in there, and he's going to receive that directly from Atzmas and give it over to all the people who are now going to be on the level of Moshe Rabbeinu at that time. Kol maliyil, gam habriya mitchadeshet b'chol yom michadash. Like we said before, the whole creation renews itself every day. He said, and since we know that the Eibusha looked into the Torah and then he created the world, well, that means that the whole creation and coming about of the Bria is dependent in Torah. It's in the same Zoya that I just mentioned, or the same Medrash. It's a Medrash Rabbah also. Dipatrois or Pinka Sois. How do you call it? The Torah is the Dipatrois means plans. How do you call it? Building plans. And Pinka Sois means what do they call them? Engineering drawings. You know, you do all these drawings, and according to that you build or do the thing. Avamela, the Torah is those legabi the world. Ari behekreya sheishchatzes oilom bo gam hi keteitoa meishchatzes b'Torah. Avamela, if you really learn Torah with a newness, then the Rebbe says you cause an enthusiasm in the world that makes the whole world look different to everybody also. It becomes a ishchatzes. So he said that from that we see that when the Talmud Basi causes a chidush, not just a ishchatzes, then he causes people to become more aware and more, tuned into the creation. He said Moshiach is going to reveal how the whole creation is just atmos, koyach atmosman. He through his chidush Torah, which is only going to be through the koyach of Hashem, he's going to reveal how the whole world is koyach atmosman. No. So he says, there's a new whole thing. So anyway, you can tie it, anyway, it's every day, but that's how they call it in the way that it is now the whole time. Through the learning in Torah, through the chidush of Torah, both of the Talmud Basi, and Allah has come for Melech Moshiach, the whole world is going to appear differently, and we're going to be aware with tremendous iskashras of the Elikusha Ba'ilam. And in the Zman of Moshiach, it's going to be Mamish Gilei Ha'atzmah. And in that Kufa, the Rebbe makes a very fascinating difference between Yidden and Umas Ha'olam. And he says, since the Yidden are a chelik elakam mimal, then they are actually, it's going to be revealed through the Torah Chadosha of Mashiach. It's going to be revealed how every Yid is really a chelik mea atzmas. And to the Goyim, it's going to be revealed how the atzmas brings about the world. And the Rebbe said, what's the difference? You're the real Makoy if you're a Yid. If you're a Goy, you become aware that the Atzmas brings about something. And what's that? That's the world. Of a Yid is higher than that. He is a chelik of the Atzmas. The Umas Ha'olam are going to realize that the Yid Mamish, chelik kan mamish. It's a pillar to piece. Nice, your eyes jump out. That's mamish a pillar. So he said, Behetzem lazeh muvan. שגם מה שאנו מויצים חידוש באילום ליוסק לובי, וכפי שנאמר בפוסק, השמיים החדושים בארץ החדושה אשר אני עושה. What ani means עצמס ממש, that'll be בגולוי, נויביה גם כן מהחידוש שיהיה עוד בתורה. על ידי משיח himself. התורה החדושה that'll be the whole new Torah, which is going to be revealed then through the union of Melech Mashiach, through the teaching of Melech Mashiach. Ve'ochen onu moitzim she'achidush b'Torah koshur im chidush ba'olam. So the Rebbe, we find a very interesting thing that go push it away. It's written that a chidush in Torah is connected with a chiddush in the world. And he said that it's in Pirkei Avos, and it's the 48th of the 48 in last week's Pirkei Avos. the 48 ways that the Torah is nicknamed, that you can purchase the Torah. And the 48th one is that Kol ha'omer dover b'shem oimrei maybe geula le'olam. And what the raya is from Esther, that she said by Vatayma Esther la melech b'shem Mordechai. She said in the name of Mordechai, and then Ahasuerus turned the other way around, and he started doing massively good for the Yidden. So we see that if you say something over in the name of the one who said it, then you bring Geula le'olam. So the Rebbe said, we see there's a connection here between something in Torah, a special paying of attention in Torah, and that's another inyan that you must always be very careful to say over. Dover B'Shem Oimrei, and the Rebbe brings down in the Sikha, because if he's a Talmud Vosik and he made a Chiddush, and that's a genuine Chiddush, how did he get to that? He got to that because he put his whole self into it. He heard of it and he worked. So he said, Magilo, that should be called his Chiddush. It's his Chiddush. It's only a part of Torah, but he put so much into it that it's his Chiddush. Is if you don't say it over in his name, then it's like as if you're being maval with that Chiddush. You're like putting back the Chiddush into the Tzelabas. You follow? But if you say it over in his name, and you're stressing that he brought that out of Me'ahelam Ela Gilui, and that's the Indian of your part in revealing out of the Helam. Of Ameli, you have to be very medactic. And then that brings Geula Le'olam. So the Rebbe said it doesn't necessarily mean the Geula Shlema, the Regazeh, but what it means is that the world is in a Helam Esther, and the Geula, the first stage in Geula, is that you begin to see that the world is not just Helam Esther, you begin to see that the world is Mamash. By saying over something, B'Shem Oimrei, then you come to that level. Yeah, very amazing. So he says, where are we? Kol ha'omer dover b'shem oimrei maybe geula le'olam. V'yahez b'pashta. So what is a simple beer bit there? Kivan shebamiras hachidish nasi geula b'Torah. There's been made a geula in the Torah, because like we said, he brings it out. Me'ahelam ela gilui. Yitzias advarim shoyu b'helem le'gilulion. He brings them out to their revelation. Umamela harizeh maybe geula b'olam. That brings also a geula, which means that we become aware of what the olam really is. Ela shekamuvan b'zeh yesh chiluchim. B'kol oisam hachidushim shebizman hagoleh, that the Talmud through his learning brings out harihem rak geula chelkis b'Torah, and that affects the world. That we see the world is more eliki. Shekein nisharu oisam minyonim shadayin behelem. Mamela gam hagiula b'olam anayitzeres al yodam hina rak geula chelkis. Because a certain part of it remains behelem, even though he's brought it out. So to a certain extent, there's still a bit of helem in the world. It's a geula, but there's still a bit of helem. Yes, he said geula sheb'teiha golas. That's as much geula that you get when you still haven't reached Mashiach yet. He said, "Rakli yosid lovei kasha gilu yazel lidah kodesh baruch me'iti tetei." That I will prompt the new Giluim, moving Evoish Akol Yitkale, everything will be Mitkale, right to the very end. Not a little bit of it will still remain, but God has, Ari said, Gama Giula Bo'ilam Tiye Oz B'Shleima. Alomel is a Gula Shleima, yes, ain't Kamoiha. So it's very fascinating that a Talmud Vosik, when he reveals, he taka reveals. But nonetheless, there's so much in Torah that how much can he really reveal? There's still the koyach, the helam of the olam is there. So he only reveals, a certain percentage. It could be quite a large percentage, but he can't get to the very bottom of everything. Therefore, if you look up in Tanya, the Rebbe brings it in a footnote in the Geras HaKodesh in chapter 26, where it's written over there the whole thing about Pnimis HaTorah, Davki Alidei, the Gilum, Pnimis HaTorah is we're to the Gula, and we bring Gilel Akus in the world, and the whole thing, the whole business there with the Rashbi when he was in the Mairo, the whole thing. So the Alter Rebbe writes over there that every person has a chaylik, saying chelkena b'seiro, so everybody has a chaylik in the Torah. And what is that? That's his chiddush, that if he will work hard, he will be able to reveal his chiddush, and he'll be able to reveal. He said, and these levels in Torah have been waiting all the years of the Goddess for you to come along and bring them out, because this is your inyan. And he uses the expression, they've been kavushim. Kavushim means like pushed down and overflowed by the Goddess. And you come along and you bring it out. He said, however, there's still a little bit remains, under the power of that kavushim. However, when the Eibush will make the emes nechdushim, then it's going to be gula midiyat lo elam. So it's a very powerful inyan. So the Rebbe says, what is the mashmos of the Shamayim Ha'aretz HaChadoshim? What does that imply? It's going to be new heavens and earth. So the Rebbe says nowadays, the etzem chayes eloki, which is mahaved, the world is not there. We don't. I mean, it's there. We don't see it. We don't. That's mafusa and musta. Alidei the helam be'esa of the nivra. And the world begotten. Aliyasid love. It's going to be chadoshim in a sense. They'll see the chayes elokis. In the world, and we'll see the whole oisias which are there from the Eibishter. And he said, even more than that, we'll come to see that ultimately speaking, the Yesh HaGashmi, Bezeh Ha'olam, is the highest form of the Koyach of Yesh Mei Ayin, as the Alter Rebbe explains in the Geras HaKodesh. That's going to be Bekiloi also, and we'll be able to see how everything comes about from the Atzmas Mamish. Why would Yidden have that so much Begolei? Because they themselves are really Atmas, they are Chilek Elokam, Mimah, that they'll recognize the Atmas that's every moment making the Mashen Ken. He said the Umas O'ilam will also come to realize. However, they will realize how Atmas makes something else. And Yidden will realize how they and Atmas are all connected with the one. They're all part of the same firm because they're part of him. They literally have as it were, a partnership in the making of the creation. And that's what we see, that all these inyanim, and that's what the Rebbe brings down here. Given shedavki begufi shel Yehudi, yeshno ishgalus ha'atzmas mami. And the Rebbe goes on to say over there, not only the neshama of a yid is atmas, but even the guf of a yid, it'll be more, but Tachlis Agiloi, how it's all Mamish Atzmas, and the whole inyan of a Yid, both Nishmosei, V'gufei, it's all one inyan of Atzmas Mamish. That's the Chilek Elokam Mimal, Gam Mitzad Gufei. That's what he brings the Raya from the Alter Rebbe, that he writes in Perik Memtes, in Tanya, the Alter Rebbe, what he says, that the inyan had he come Gufei. How's he write the Lashon over there? I've just forgotten the Alter. But what it means is that even Gufay is mamish the inyan from Gilei Koyach HaAtzmas man. Gam Tzadku. Okay, so therefore that's basically it. So what is one of the Hoiroas from Isaac? That's very fascinating. One of the Hoiroas from Isaac is that everybody has to sit down and work hard with himself and see if he can't reveal what is his chiddush. And maybe he should say a chiddush, Shabbat. And it could be that all the Bria has been waiting. That's what he says in Tanya over there. all the generations were individual year to say what is his Kiddush. And therefore the Rebbe is very in favor of people saying Chidushim, because that's going to be like part and parcel of the whole Gilul of the Yosid Love, albeit a forerunning stage, but it's going to link into the Chidushim of the Eivishter. And so he says he should make an effort to say a Chidush. And if Ma'atov or Ma'noim, to put it down in writing. That's what he says, the Rebbe. And people should give out, and not worry if it's 100% true. The Eivishter will help that if you really meant good and you meant the Elech, that it'll be true. That's one thing. And then the Rebbe says that on this Shabbat, Parshas Naso, in the late afternoon, they should make a, I don't know if there was a hero for all years, it could be, but on that particular year, the Rebbe came out late on Shabbos afternoon, after the big farbringen that had already been, and he made another small farbringen, and with washing. He said everybody should wash. And then he said a whole sikh about this thing, and then afterwards they benched, and the Rebbe gave out kosher bracha for a long time after that, on Moitoi Shabbat. So the Rebbe said that in order to be zeicha to this type of chiddush that the Eibush is going to be mechadish in Torah, the Yosid Love, you have to have actors. Since the Eibush is pshitas actors, and that's the immediate sin of the Ein Sof, and the Inyan from the Atmos Ein Sof, therefore you have to have actors amongst the Inyan, also the Tachlis Inyan actors. And if I'm not mistaken, he mentions the whole Inyan of learning Pirkei Avos, Yidden throughout the whole world learn all together Pirkei Avos. And then he says the Pirkei Kohanim, which is mentioned in the Parshas. Pirkei Kohanim is also got to do with the Inyan actors, that the Kohanim bring down the blessing for all the Yidden together. A whole deal that he makes when he gets it. So he said we're all B'Taklis actors. We're all going to get together to prepare ourselves for the Terech Hadosh or Me'iti for Asmos Ein Sof. It's going to be revealed. That's what he says.
Do you think that could also, the Chidushim could also be by way of Nigun? Do you think that Chidushim could also be by way of a Nigun? By way of a Nigun?
By way of English?
Nigun, by way of a Nigun. Do you think a Chidush?
Yidud?
A Chidush.
Somebody makes up could the Chidush could the Chiddush be a nigun, a new nigun, he's asking?
It's interesting. The Rebbe mentions at the end about the nigunim of the Rebbeim. He said they should sing all the nigunim. And he's got a whole deal that there's Tisha nigunim. If you count the first nigun, if you count that as 3 nigunim, then you get 9. And he says there's a preparation for the Shira, how serious, which Malacham says. So it's interesting you mentioned it.
I was thinking about Velvo Morantz. I was thinking about Velvo Morantz.
You should realize that his Yortzeit was there, sure as you know.
Right.
I spoke with Tvi at a hotel. He was a remarkable man. You should realize that Velvo Morantz, it's good that we should say something, because he was amazing. But did you know Velvo Morantz? That he, from the time that he came to Chabad, there wasn't one day, except for rare days here and there, that he didn't learn and talk Etzmim. He used to come into the yeshiva every day to talk Etzmim, and he used to hear a shir, and he used to hear, when I gave the shir klali, he would always be there, he would always listen to the shir klali. And then he used to be there by mincha, and after mincha he used to pull out his flute and play nigun, all the brochim. They would sing the nigun, dance, or jump up and down on the bed. Except he was very medactic in the dry brochim, he didn't, he was careful not to play, particularly in the 9 days, maybe in the 3 weeks, something serious. But in the 9 days, of course, he didn't. But only on those days, but otherwise he was always playing a niggin on his flute at the end of Mincha everything. So he was a key figure in a whole portion of Tomchei Tamimim that was founded by the Rebbe, or Tamimim, our yeshiva, was founded by the Rebbe. And he had a big part in it. All farbringen used to come to all the farbringen. Whenever I farbring with the Bachim, he would always be there. Tamid. And even when he was in his latter time before he passed away, he was suffering from the palsy and everything, he used to come with Yitzchak or with Reuben or Tzvi, and they would sit him down and he would listen. He would pay attention. Yeah, and then they would have to help him to leave, but he would be there for part of the farbringen. And most of the time, he would pull out his flute and play one of the nigunim or the farbringen on his flute. Yeah. Many farbringen. That's well around. So many of the bochim that they had simcha, the two levo from his pudding, his feeding. Yeah. And he would always be there by Mincha, and always he once finished the Kaddish Shachar, he'd pull out his foot and everybody knew him, would wait for him, he would just put his hand on him.
He would give out the Mashiach now.
Oh, yeah.
Mashiach now.
That's right. He used to give out that weekly report from the Dvar Malchus in English. He would give it out, yeah. Yeah, he was a very devoted Mashiachist builder. Yeah. He was a very rare person. So I'm pleased that we had that. Thanks for bringing that up. I'm very pleased with that. We had the opportunity to speak. And we should meet up with him when we're telling him very soon. Very good on meeting especially. So
Yom Holedet. Mendel's
oh yeah, Mendel. Today? Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Gewöhne Yom Holedet. Yom Tovia. Yisrael Chai.
Tonight. Tonight, tomorrow.
Tonight, now.
Tonight, now.
Tonight, leading into tomorrow. Well, it's also the Shivas Yomei Tashlum.
Should have all the best brachas. Should have all the best brachas.
Right. In Chutzlot, it's Yisrael Chai. In Chutzlot, it's Yisrael Chai.
So bless us. Bless us.
It's good.
Yes. All right.
The first,
Toshin Yodov.
the very first public, and in that talk, the Rebbe referred to everybody has some special quality or some special inyan, right? In that talk, he said, it was surprising, he said general things of the kind of thing, but he said everybody has an individual, something to bring that's deeper, that's special. Is that
Every
like-
year there's a shliach. Every year there's his own individual.
Yeah, but the specific quality, is that like the Chiddush or is that different? Is that different than the Chiddush or is that the same idea?
It's connected. The shayach, זה עניין מיוחד וזה עניין טיפה שונה. אבל it's all basically the same thing.
לפי זה אתה מוציא את הסחורה.
Beyond the usual shlichus, he said a specific quality or specific gift to give or a deep
What he
thing.
means is that the Gemara says that 600,000 Yidden.
מתי עשה?
אני באתי עם נהג אחר, ואני קבעתי אותו 10:05.
10:05. איפה? כאן למעלה?
למעלה.
זה 25. אז יש לו נגבים זה.
יש פה 20 דקות, 25 דקות, צריכים לקפל את הדברים ולא.
Thank you.
מצד, the Gemara says in the Mishnah that if you see 600,000 Yidden, you have to say